going to hit record here. Just to be aware that we are recording this event. We will publish the video on our YouTube and Odyssey channels. So when we get to the discussion part of the conversation, you can put your questions in the chat, or you know, if you don't mind appearing on video, unmute yourself and we'll have a discussion that way. So, all right. So welcome everyone to our event for the Ocean Builders Project Management. So Grant Romundt, the CEO of Ocean Builders, is going to show us their new online project management system where they have organized a bunch of the projects that need to get done in order to get our SeaPod, our first seastead, out into the water. And then, so he will give a presentation about that. And then Joe Quirk, president of the Seasteading Institute, will talk a little bit about how we, at the Seasteading Institute, are going to support the incubator that Ocean Builders is hosting. And then we will have an open discussion. So thank you very much, Grant, for being with us, and take it away.
You're welcome. Thank you, Carly. Great to be here. And happy birthday, Joe. It's a big birthday. So happy to be here on your actual birthday to launch this new project we've been working on very hard with Ocean Builders. Actually this project kind of started about almost 2 years ago, maybe, with Carly coming to us with the idea of an open source development platform. And she made some initial arrangements and meetings for us with Sensorica, the people at Sensorica who are developing this open source development platform that got me really excited because I saw it and I thought that that has so much potential, because there's so many people that really love the idea of seasteading and the idea of being able to live on the water. But to get to the point where you can actually live on the water and have a lifestyle that's something close to what you're used to on land, there's a lot of development that needs to take place. You can't just, like living on a boat doesn't really give you the same experience as living on land. And people, you know, living on a boat, you normally have to conserve water to a great degree. Like maybe you have, for example, maybe 50 or 100 liters of water that you have per week that you want to use without having to empty your gray water or black water tanks too often. So there's all these limitations that you have to live with. There's a lot of movement of your vessel. There's getting supplies and energy. So there's a lot of things that most people that live on land wouldn't accept by moving into a floating home. So we wanted to try to find some solutions to all these problems. And there's, well, let's not call them problems, let's call them challenges. I think there's a lot of challenges that need to be overcome. And there's a lot of really smart, bright people that are in this whole community that maybe they have different parts of the puzzle to solve this issue. And so we're trying to create a platform where people can come together and come up with solutions and share solutions and work towards answers. So the Sensorica platform kind of gave us the initial model, and this kind of light bulb went off when I first heard about it, because it looked like a place where you could propose a project and have people from all over the world contributing little bits and pieces of ideas. Maybe it's software, maybe it's hardware ideas, maybe it's different solutions in different areas. And all these pieces can be put together into a solution that can be a breakthrough. So I really love that idea, and the implementation of that software was really very technically challenging to actually implement. There's a lot of pieces. I spent many hours a week trying to find a way to make that system work. So now we've tried to integrate it into our website in a way that has an easier workflow, so it should be easier for people to follow. And this is, of course, a work in progress. If you've been looking at the website, for the last couple of weeks. Every couple of days, there's a lot of new content that's being added. There's a lot of new tweaks and twists that have been added. So we're making progress on this as quickly as we can. We have about 12 projects up right now that I'll give you a brief introduction to. And then there's another 110 or 120 projects on our wiki right now. So I'll just kind of dive in. I'll share my screen here so you can see what we are doing. All right, can you all see my screen? Looks like it's showing. Okay, so this is the Ocean Builders website now. We have a participate. There's a couple different ways you can get involved. We have the participate now link here that we just added a few days ago. And when you click that, you get a search page that takes over the whole page. And here you can search for different keywords of things that you're interested in. So if you're interested in marine restoration or marine engineering, or just engineering, mechanical engineering, or coral projects, you can type in keywords of either things you're interested in, different kinds of technical expertise you might bring to the table, and then we'll have a list of all the projects that match that are on the project so far. Right now, we've hidden it to only about 12 projects because there's a lot of other ones that are in the process of being added. They're all here, but they're not fully ready to have people to participate. So let's say, for example, you type marine, then you'll come up with this is one project that's kind of interesting. It's called the Aquascan Sonar Depth Mapping the Ocean. Actually, the title isn't ideal, but the idea is, and there's different ways of implementing this actual solution, but the idea came to me from a friend of mine that works in Panama at a company called Panama, and they had this idea that you could, they wanted to be able to map the ocean floor in a very cost-effective way. And right now, that's very, very, very expensive, and it's not very practical. So they wanted to come up with solutions to making this less expensive. So the concept for this idea is to be able to have a drone that has a camera tethered to it that would be programmed to go to basically dip into the ocean every 1 meter and just follow a grid. And by doing that, you have 3 cameras kind of in a 120-degree angle. And each camera would take a picture under the water of the surface of the ocean floor. And by doing that every meter, you can actually, when you stitch all these images, thousands or millions of images together, you actually come up with a 3D representation of the sea floor in full color, which is beautiful and gives you depth, gives you textures, gives you colors, gives you sea life. So it gives you a really accurate representation of what the sea life is like in that area. And that makes it really easy for you to be able to monitor it through time. So you could go back in 6 months or a year, and then you can do another set of tests and see how the local area has either been restored, or if it's the same, or if it's been degenerated with maybe coral bleaching or something like that, or if you're doing some efforts to try to restore the coral in that area, maybe you would start to see some of those results, because you would actually have 3D overlays that you can compare year over year or month over month from the time you've done these tests. So this is one way of doing it. This is with using a drone, but it could easily be a surfboard or paddleboard or a kayak or a boat that has a camera that would be mapping the ocean floor. So this is a very interesting project I kind of like, so I wanted to push this to have it as one of the projects that we highlight. So each page here gives you kind of a visual idea of what the project is, a little description. There's a button to apply now. So if you click that, then you can just enter your name, first name, last name, email. If you're logged in to the system, then it'll pre-populate your name and contact information. You can just give us a few words explaining what you would like to contribute towards this project or what you like about this project, and then we'll take it from there. I'll show you more in the next screens of what we do from there. And then there's also a project board page, and then there's an Ocean Builders Wiki entry page. So if you open the project board, it's actually a full project management system that we built right into the website for Ocean Builders. So people can see all the projects that are involved in, like, all the kind of like when you're making any project, you usually have like a list of priorities of like step 1, step 2, step 3, and all the subcategories of things that need to be done. So here we will have a list of every single thing that needs to be done to implement each project. And then as you complete one project, anyone on the team can move it from a to-do list, which is basically a big list of all the things that need to be done. Then once you start working on it, you move it into the in progress column. So it means you've actually taken this project on, and now you're working on this particular part of it. And a project may have 100 parts, or maybe 200 parts, or maybe 50 pieces. It depends on how complex of a project it is. So you can take whatever your part of that 100 pieces or 200 pieces is, move it to in progress, and then once it's done, you move it over to the done column. And then we have a project manager that's going to work with everyone that's working on these projects to help make sure everything gets done, and make sure things move from one column to the next, and is there to help with coordinating anything that needs to be done. And so he'll kind of be like keeping things on track and answering any questions that come up. So also on this page, we have a wiki entry. So this link goes to the wiki page, which is basically an open source like Wikipedia that's built into the Ocean Builders website. We have a list here. This is our full project list of open source projects. There's, I'm not even sure how many are here because I just looked earlier today, and there's a few projects that were added by some people that are using the software already that I hadn't seen before today. So that's good. I like seeing things happening and things moving. So there's quite a few projects here. They're all being added one by one to our official search page. So you'll be able to search for them here and find them. Then if you go to our website, so that's the Participate Now page, but we also have an area to go to our wiki, so you can access the wiki projects directly. Just click on there, and it will bring you to our main wiki page. And then if you click on Research and Development Projects, you will see a list of all the research and development projects that are officially added and are ready for people to contribute to. So we have some interesting projects here right now. Something I've really been spending a lot of time and focus on myself is how do you treat the waste on the ship or on your SeaPod? Because normally when you're living on a boat, you're using toilets, and what do you do with the toilet waste? Do you have your waste emptied with, do you have a service boat that comes by and empties your black water? We want to try to find solutions so that there's, you can have an experience of living on the SeaPod without having to change your lifestyle too much. We want to be able to have almost a normal land lifestyle, but have it on the sea, where you have these incredible views, oceanfront views. Usually people dream of living close to the sea or on the sea, and you can't get any closer than on a SeaPod. So the Wastewater Project is something I've been really interested in. So let's open this one up a little bit more. This project will give you desired outcomes of the project. So it's kind of listed into broken down into different subjects. Some of the preliminary research and documentation that's been done. We're putting some prizes on these projects as well. So here's some of the preliminary research we have put into this. To give you an idea, we've spent, I don't know how much time trying to research better toilets. There is, and there's a lot of people that are very passionate about toilets. Joe knows very well, we've had a lot of contributors in the seasteading community that are really passionate about toilets, and I've kind of adopted that passion as well, because there's not a lot of good solutions. Usually on land, when you just pull the flush button, and then the problem just disappears. It just goes away. But in reality, you're just moving your problem somewhere else. So we're trying to have a home on the ocean that doesn't harm the environment, and trying to find a way to treat that kind of waste right then and there, so it doesn't get cause damage to the environment. So originally we looked at composting toilets. We looked at urine diverting toilets. We looked at biogas toilets, so that turn the waste into energy through biogas. And so we're looking at a lot of different solutions. One of the things I'm really interested in right now is a process called electrocoagulation. And it's something that's used mostly in big industry to treat gray water. And it actually puts a small electrical current through two metal plates or multiple metal plates. It can be a grid of plates. And that actually neutralizes a lot of the wastes in the water. So you can actually have almost drinkable water after some processing. Some very simple processing. It goes through that process, then you filter it, and then it goes through a charcoal filter, and then you have water that you can actually recycle about 90 to 95% of your gray water, and possibly black water as well. We're doing a lot of research on that, but that's something I'm really excited about. So I get really excited when I talk about toilets. So that's one thing, and we're putting some prizes on these. We're still adjusting all the prizes for these. And let's see what else we can show here. Another project I really like is Lifeguard AI. So now if we're living on the ocean, I think it's really important to be able to provide a safe environment for families. And if you have your kids swimming in the water around the house, you want to make sure that they're safe, and you aren't able to necessarily watch them all the time. And it's not just your kids, it could be family, it could be friends. So there's some projects that are already being developed to have to use cameras that can detect if someone is swimming normally or acting normally in water, or if they start to look like they're in a panic. So there's a number of projects that are already open source, that are already in development, and so they can identify different people, and they're kind of watching and making sure that no one looks like they're in a panic. And if they start to see that there is a panic, then you can get mobile notifications sent to everyone in the area, or the homeowners, or family or friends, so you can take quick action. So, and then a future technology could be that there would be an unmanned vehicle that could come by and go to that location where you're spotting someone drowning. So there's actually a project that I saw on YouTube recently where they have this high-speed floating life vest, basically, that goes really fast to to anyone that's drowning nearby. So it's not connected to the AI yet for the spotting the person, but they have it sensed, I think, to like a wrist banner or something like that, or a beacon that's on the wrist. So there's some really incredible technologies, and we're trying to help develop all these things as quickly as possible. And we're doing everything, pretty much everything, as an open source project, because we want these technologies to move forward. We don't care whether it's Ocean Builders doing it. We don't care if it's someone else doing it. We just want to help make progress in this department. So I'm really excited that we're partnering with the Seasteading Institute to help make this happen, because there's a lot of people that come through the Seasteading Institute that want to see this happen. So we want this to happen as well, and it doesn't have to be just through us. We want this to move forward. So no matter what happens, this will be posted on, like, some of our software and hardware is going on our GitHub, which is kind of like an online repository for technology development, software technology. We're using our Wiki to post all the knowledge that's accumulated for everything we're learning about how to make all this kinds of technology. Like, so we'll have a full repository of all this information. And we are, everything that we're doing, we're putting find all the, we have an open source listing of, find details of it. Yeah, so at the bottoms of the pages, we're listing very upfront what kind of development we're doing. So all these projects are being developed with for the software, it's with an open source general public license, I think is the license that's being used. So you can click on these and you get information on how they're being done for all the other intellectual property, for hardware, design, everything else. It's being done with Creative Commons, and you have the link to on each of the projects to be able to see what the license is. So if you want to participate in these projects, you know exactly what you're getting involved with. And I'm really excited about making things happen. I was kind of inspired a lot last year with when the COVID-19 situation started, and everyone was on lockdown at homes, and you weren't able to go to work. And I just got inspired with the idea that there's so many people that are just sitting at home in their basements, have nothing to do. What if we could just capture 1% of that idle capacity of human creative potential and focus that on something that could make a difference in the world? So I was really inspired by that idea. And so this is our attempt to try to do that, to try to help focus the world on some solutions. I really love what Joe always says about, stop arguing and start building, and start, seasteading, and, I can't remember the exact wording on that, Joe, but basically we want to build solutions. We want to build, I love one of my favorite TV shows is MacGyver, because he finds really innovative solutions and, makes things out of nothing. And I think that's kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for people that want to find new solutions, out of the box solutions that maybe haven't been done before. Maybe they have been done before, but now we're combining them in a new way to make things work. We call the company Ocean Builders because we want to build things. We don't want to talk about building things. We don't want to talk about or philosophize about what we're going to do, or theorize about what we're going to do. We want to actually build. So we really like the idea of doing and building, and we would love to have people that we can coordinate with on a global scale to build solutions, build real solutions. So I think the plan here is to start by working remotely with people, and then see how things go. see how they progress. And then if they progress really well, then we can actually bring people down to Panama, and you can be on site, and we can have our on-site MacGyvers doing some fun things, changing the world. We have some incredible things happening right outside my window. I'm at the factory right now in Panama. So we have seasteads in progress right outside the window. I can turn the cameras around. I can take you on a live tour. I have pre-recorded video that I can, we can show that as well. We had the full team here yesterday, so you can see things being done. We have a little crew here today. We have about 30 people at the factory during weekdays, and today we have a few people here just doing some sandblasting and getting the different parts of the seastead ready. So
Grant, if I may ask a question,
yeah.
The incubator, can you explain the incubator's relationship to this online project management system?
Sure. So we have an incubator house in Panama, and the idea of the incubator is to be able to bring people down and be hands-on and building solutions, like building a workable model of an incinerating toilet, or a toilet that recycles some of its waste or all of its waste, and looking for ways of building maybe solar thermal system. Like we're right now doing a lot of work on building a solar thermal electric system that converts solar thermal energy into into electric power. So there's a list of 100 projects on the Wiki, and we want to have people down at the incubator in Panama that are working together, coordinating, and actually hands-on building things. And then everything they're building can be used on the SeaPods we're building, or they can be used really by any other seasteading project, because they're all open source. I wish there was more seasteading companies in the world, but this is our way of helping that kind of seeding the future seasteading companies to start, because we're trying to make it easy for people. Because right now there's a lot of barriers to entry. This is not an easy thing to do. So we're trying to lower the barrier of entry so we can have more competitors. We're not afraid of competitors. We want that to happen. We want as many people seasteading as possible. So I think this is, I lived in a floating house for 3.5 years, and it was one of the most amazing experiences, living experiences of my life. I loved waking up in the morning and being on the water, and walking out of my door, which was on the dock, and jumping in a paddleboard or in a kayak and going for a morning paddle in the morning was and just a magical experience. And I always loved the idea of being able to share that with other people.
Now, do you mind if we have Joe talk a little bit about the Incubator Scholarship, and then we can open up for discussion, and if people want a tour, they can ask for it in the discussion. But do you mind if we move on forward with that?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, go ahead, take it away, Joe.
All right, thanks, Carly. Really exciting grant, and I've been looking at the projects for a while. There's a whole lot of them on there, and they all inspire my creativity. So this is the best birthday present ever for me. I mean, we're entering an exciting new phase for seasteading in this decade, where we stop talking and start building the first seasteads, taking the first baby steps onto the sea. It's finally happening. And we want to make living on the sea even better than living on land. It might not start out that way, but we're going to go in that direction. And we want the first examples to inspire people around the world. And it's going to take a lot of cleverness and a lot of creativity. And fortunately, there's a lot of clever and creative people in the seasteading community. And the Seasteading Institute wants to match aquapreneurs to the right project. And we also want to match the most innovative interns to the right project. So this means we want to match the cost to send 5 innovative interns to the incubator, up to $55,000 for my 55th birthday. Still the best birthday ever, and it's just starting. So I was really excited to learn, listening to Grant, that volunteers are already participating in the projects and contributing to tasks that they're passionate about. That's amazing. Since it's the nonprofit Seasteading Institute that's sponsoring the scholarship, everything you produce will be open source and shared with seasteaders all over the world. So it requires not just creativity, but people who are generous with their creativity. And speaking of generosity, an anonymous donor has offered to match all donations for the incubator up to $55,000 by the end of June. So that really inspires us to move forward. So if you want to sponsor interns to innovate, to create the new blue world, then reach into your pockets and pocketbooks and donate to the first Seastead Incubator hosted by Ocean Builders. And that will be a terrific birthday present to me. Let's meet the match by the end of the month. And thanks for participating in this.
Yeah, so that's really exciting, because that takes you from $55,000 to 110 if we get full participation, which is really exciting. That allows things to move faster, and we like moving fast. I often tell the story that on it was Christmas Eve a little while ago. It was the year before last, 2019, and I get a text from Rudy at 11 a.m. Demanding that I send him the plans for the center spar of the SeaPod, because he had a whole team of people there that are working and wanted to get this thing done. And it's like, really, you have a team of people that are working on Christmas Eve that, you know, like, this is like absolute dedication and devotion to the cause. And I love having people like that are super passionate, that just want to keep on pushing and pushing and pushing to get things done. We may not always be able to make things happen as quick as we want. We're doing something that hasn't been done before, so that's never easy. I wish this was a lot easier than it has been, but I guess nothing worthwhile has ever been done that didn't have a lot of heartaches along the way. So we are dealing with challenges every week, and we're overcoming them and moving on to the next thing. We just had a team of specialists come in from South Africa to help us with making the fiberglass, like finishing off the molds. And I think the next month we're going to make some incredible progress. So I'm really excited about that. I'll take you guys for a tour. If there's enough interest in doing that, I can do a live tour or have a pre-recorded tour that we can show.
Live tour would be cool.
Live tour, okay. All right. Okay, so we'll start our tour in the factory office. Here is our view. We have Linton Bay Marina right in the background there. You see the boats, and you may be able to see the water. It may not be close enough for you to see it on the video. And then out the window, you'll see the base of the SeaPod. And I'm going to go down there and give you a better look at that up close and explain everything. We have Rudy here at his office working away. Here's my office. We have Gilles in the office today. And we have a very poor receptionist. We're just working on, it's Friday afternoon, so it's about an hour and a half of quitting time, so everyone's still at the factory. I wanted to catch the video and get this done now so you can see things actually happening. This is the meeting room that's being built right now. This will be done in about a week. And then in the back here, the meeting room, we're going back to our research and development toilet areas. We have some research we're doing on waste disposal for toilets, to process the toilet waste and to be able to possibly even recycle it. This is our shower research area. So we're going to be building something based on the shower loop technology, and we're coordinating with them and doing some of our own research and trying to get a system that recycles as much of the water as possible.
busy pouring this section here yesterday. This we're going to have a big water tank there, and in the building below there's going to be our water processing section. So that is all under construction. Here we have large steel, and so we buy basically containers like that filled with steel. There's a weight limit, so we get as much as we can into one container. So they come in these flat sheets, and then I'll show you a little bit later how we roll them and turn them into SeaPod parts. So this is our spiral staircase. It's the same dimensions as what we're going to have on the actual seastead. Our central pole, and we have 1.6 meter diameter. From one end to the other is 1.6 meters. So it's a pretty comfortable space. You'll be able to walk up and down. And around here, tool room and repair room in here. We have all our tools when you want to use, when you guys want to use some tools to do some work, you have to come in here and sign things out. We also do tool repair in here as well. There's some research projects we're building over here for some floating vessels. Doing some R&D. We're always doing a lot of R&D here. We just had several tanks of gas, various kinds of gases that came. We've got a delivery truck here. This is mostly for welding. We have a welding team right now in this section. It's covered by this blue tarp because we have it's rainy season and we have a lot of rain coming down right now. So we have the whole section covered so we can continue working as best as possible and also give some sun protection. So we have this blue box here is our welding machine. And you have to watch the step here because it is an active construction zone. We have our fence, our new fence post is going in here. In there, so it's kind of lots of things happening simultaneously. I'm going to do a little bit of a show here. I'm not sure if this will show up on the video. So here we have this is the base of the SeaPod. The Outriggers are these. We have these 3 Outriggers, we call them, and they're steel tubes. They're between 12 and 15 centimeters, 12 to 15 millimeters thick. They're thicker in the middle section than in the outer section because we need to have more strength in this area than on the outer areas. So because this is where all the forces are concentrated, so we use thicker steel there and thinner steel on the outer section. Each of these sections is 2 meters long, and there's 6 of these sections and 1 whole outrigger. So we have a total of 12 meters out, and then each of the, we call them side spars or outer spars, are 1.6 meters wide. So it's actually a huge structure. We have about 244 square meters of space that's taken up by the whole entire structure. So we have, maybe I'll go up the SeaPod right now. You can get a look on the inside. Kind of interesting. Okay, so this is going to be the dock level of the house. So you pull your boat up to this area, and this is going to be about 70 to 60 centimeters above the water line. So the water line will be approximately right here, and then everything below will be underwater. So all these tubes, all these outriggers here are going to be below water, and this will be below water. We'll have one of these outriggers will have a walkway on it, and you'll be able to walk through the outer spar or the side spar, and there'll be a little staircase there, and you will be able to climb up to an elevated platform where we will have a water gazebo, or wazebo as we're calling it, and then on top of that gazebo will have a system of solar cells, so that's where we will get our power. Just going to climb up a little bit more. It is an active construction site, so there's lots of noise. All right, so this is the entrance of the SeaPod. We're going to have a very nice door here, but you can see it's been cut out, so you can walk inside. There's an area here. There's an access door here. We're going to have a watertight door where you'll be able to access the underwater part of the SeaPod. Then we have our stairs. These are still being built right now. We have our center pole, and we can walk up a little bit. It's not complete yet. We still have to go a little bit higher. The stairs are going to go to about this level right here. So we're a little bit more than halfway done right now with the stairs. We have a temporary ladder here, but yeah, it's coming together very nicely. These are, we're going to sandblast the walls, so these will be nice and smooth. They will be painted. We'll have some LED lighting on it, so it won't be dark at night. We have these stairs going to be welded both sides here. So they're can be very strong. You can either have them like this, with this kind of teardrop finish on them, so they don't slip too much, or we can have a finish on top, so it's a little bit nicer than just having a steel top there. Walk down again. And climb down the ladder. So we have about 30 people at the factory right now, so it's pretty full. Actually, maybe today we're probably around 35. We have a couple of people in the office, and then we just had some specialists come in from South Africa to help us finish the mold, which we're going to look at right now. So these are the SeaPods. Together very nicely. It's always slower than you want them to go. Development is always slower than you want them to go. But once we have, this is actually what we call a plug. So the plug is being used to make molds that go over top, and then those molds will be used to make the actual SeaPods. So really the last 6 months pretty much we've been working just to make the original plug, and that makes the mold, and then we'll be able to go a lot faster once we have that in place. So everything right now is just focused on doing this. This is the top. This whole area is the top section of the pod, and then we have the bottom half. And right now it's upside down, so it's actually going to be reversed, but we have to make it this way. This is the production process for making the molds. So we just put these wood pieces on top. These are our guides. They let us know how close we are to the exact shape that we need to have them in. And you can see we're pretty close. You can see a little bit of an air gap there, but it's pretty close. We were a little worried because it's visually deceptive because there's a bit of an angle right now. So it looked like one side was sagging. So we have put all these pieces on to test everything, and we were worried about this side being too low, and it's actually, everything's really good, in really good shape. Now this area here had to be filled in, so we've been working on this morning. We have to do the same thing on the other side. This is the part of the window, so there's going to be a window. This is in the bedroom right here. So I'll just sneak in here now. So we have right here is the bedroom area. So we're going to have a window from right here. Huge window over there. So this window's, I think, about 4 meters across, so it's a massive window. It'll be not quite a meter tall, but it's a very nice panoramic bedroom window. The master bedroom, or the master bed, will be right here. It'll be a king-size bed in this area. We'll have views out that window, over there, and also over there. Right now we have Herman from South Africa, who's one of our fiberglass specialists. This is going to be the shower area. So it's a huge 1.6 meter shower, also bath. Doing a lot of testing and work on it right now. Then the bathroom will be right beside, so we'll have a sink and toilet and urinal. And then the stairs. Stairs will be kind of right over here, and you'll walk down into the kitchen area, which is going to be just in this area here. See if I can zoom out a little bit now. And then right here is going to be the patio doors that will slide open, and then you'll be able to walk out to the patio, or open the kitchen up to have a really amazing view of the water. This is the spar that goes inside the house. So this actually slips. This is a fiberglass spar. It will slide onto the steel spar that's in the center there that we were just climbing up a few minutes ago. So this will slide onto that, and you can see this thing is really huge. And that goes from the very bottom of the pod to the very top. And you'll see these little shelves, these little platforms. These are where the floors and the ceilings and different parts of the actual structure here plug into. This is actually, so that gives you an idea of how tall this house is. And then you have, this is actually upside down, so we're looking at the floor. This will actually be the floor, just above my head. And then you'll have a huge window going from there all the way around to here. When we first started designing this, we wanted to make sure that you're living on the water. You want to have this massive window, because the biggest feature is seeing this incredible ocean views. So that's what this is. This is the living room. You'll enter the house from the spar right here. We'll have a door here. The top section here will actually be storage space. So we'll have, we call it main engineering. We'll have the computers, the desalination machines, some of the water recycling technologies, or other projects will be in there. All the computer hardware, all the brains of the house will be in there. And that's pretty much the inside here. Then we're now working on making some test floors. Maybe they moved it off already. There's a section that was on top of here before. Oh, it's over here now. So we're using this sheeting, which is usually used for the steel or the aluminum roofing. So you can see it's the shape of the aluminum roof that we usually have. So that you've seen all over the place, really. So we actually are using this as the foundation to make the floors. So it actually gives quite a bit of strength. These are incredibly strong, covering in fiberglass. And so far, this is kind of our research test project for making floors. And so far, it looks really good. We did some testing for a different location, and it turned out really well. So we're making that here, and probably in about 2 weeks, we're going to be ready to start finally pulling the molds off of the plug here, and that should be done. That process should be about 2 weeks. So as soon as we have the plugs pulled or the molds pulled, then we are good to go into production. So that's very exciting. We've been working towards this for a very long time. We have a really big factory here, so we're ready to start using it. Oh, actually, I meant to show you the big steel sheets I showed you earlier that we get. We have a special machine here that rolls the steel. So we load the steel onto that crane up there. We lift it up, each sheet, and it goes through this machine. This is like almost like a big pancake or bread roller. It has three wide cylinders that turn, and we can adjust the angle. There's a computer where you can adjust the angle of what kind of turn radius you want to have on the steel, and you'll be able to adjust it so you can make steel tubes like this size, which are 1.6 meter diameter, and then this is about 1 meter diameter, so we can adjust and control it however we want. So that's pretty much the factory tour, and let's get back to the presentation.
So our first question comes from John Hoonfeld. How do I launch my own project on Ocean Builders?
Okay, let me switch my audio over.
Are you ready, Grant?
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm ready. Okay, I just switched my audio and video over from my phone to here. How to launch your own project? Well, I guess the easiest way right now is to connect with us and ask for editing rights to be able to add a project. And then you can go ahead and do that. So you just get in touch with our team. Probably maybe just contact us on info@oceanbuilders.com, and then we'll coordinate that. Or contact with us on the website. There's a contact form. So if you go to the main Ocean Builders website, click the hamburger menu, the 3 parallel lines on the right side of the top right side of the screen, and then there's a contact form where you can contact us and write us a message. So we can do that there.
All right, and then the next question from Joshua, the solar energy project, it doesn't sound like solar panels. So how are you converting the solar energy to electricity?
Yes, so the first version of what we're doing with the SeaPod will have solar electric. So it'll be a standard solar electric system. But we're also very interested in solar thermal because we can use something like evacuated tubes with maybe even a parabolic mirror behind them to make them more efficient. And the efficiency of solar evacuated tubes, it can get up to 97% conversion of the sun's energy into heat. So that's really efficient, much more so than solar. Solar is the standard system we're probably looking at using ourselves would probably be in the 17% range of conversion efficiency. So it's better than nothing, but if we can get up to 97% and then use that water, now we have that we have that heat captured in water. So we use basically a water battery to store this energy. And then we have water for showers, we have it for sinks. And then we're also looking at a system where that will be able to convert the hot water into electrical power using a Tesla turbine, which is a technology that's been around since 1901 or no, sorry, 1909. I think Tesla patented the Tesla turbine. So it's technology that's just sitting there and it's highly efficient. And so we have a team that is working on this technology to get it to the point where it can convert that all the steam energy, basically, because it's a steam engine, into electric power with a generator connected to it. So we have an active research team that we've been working with for the last almost a year now. They're making fantastic progress. We're generating about 1,000 watts right now on the demo model that we're working on, which is not enough for SeaPod, but it's I'm pretty happy with that amount. And that's just like a small beginnings of what I think we're going to be able to do with this. So it's just another example of like, there's so many people that are passionate on finding different solutions to different problems. And we found one team that's working on how to get the Tesla turbine technology working. It's a known technology that's been used for a long time, but they've made some breakthroughs on how to make it more efficient and get it to work better. So that's what we're doing with solar thermal.
Great. So Christopher has his hand raised. So Christopher, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, a couple quick ones if you'll allow it. First, do you know if there are any implications for the end of the Panama Friendly Nations visa program? I know you're not in the business of getting people citizenship and residency and that sort of thing, but for eventual retail buyers of SeaPods and that sort of thing, do you know if there's any that'll make things a lot more difficult or anything like that to come and live in Panama?
Yeah, we're probably going to send an email out very soon about that. Just give everyone like a last chance notice that the Friendly Nations visa that Panama's had for the last 10 years is coming to an end on August 18th. So if you don't get your applications in, like almost start like working on this right now, you may not be able to make it before the deadline. So we only have, well, June, July, and part of August to get your applications in. And it usually takes probably about a month normally to get all the paperwork together that you need. Opening a company takes usually several weeks. You have to have a police clearance, like background check done. And those are the two things that usually take the longest. Like both of those processes could be between a couple of days to 3 weeks or more. And that was before the pandemic started. So now a lot of those offices are going slower, so things take longer. So you really need to get moving as quickly as possible. So right now, Canadians and Americans have a 6-month visa when they enter Panama. So you can come in the country for 6 months at a time. Then you have to leave for several days, then you can return for another 6 months. So if you don't have a visa, then you'd have to come and go a lot. They are, Panama's trying to, I guess, direct people into making real estate investments. And right now, SeaPods are not an approved real estate investment. We do have discussions we're doing with the Panama government to see if we can get them approved to be real estate investment. I don't know if that's going to be approved, so I can't make any guarantees. I would like that to happen, but I can't say one way or another if that will happen. But if you are interested in getting a residency in Panama, I would do it as soon as possible, because the program they have open right now is the cheapest and the fastest that I'm aware of. And I don't think there's any other countries that are cheaper or faster and that have, you know, Panama's a beautiful country, great weather, great location, close to North America if you're based in North America. So there's a lot of big advantages to being here. So try to get them in fast if you can, if you're interested in that.
Sure thing. May I ask another really quick one, or would you like to move on to something else?
Up to you, Carl.
Let me move on. Let me
Sure.
I have a few
Thank you
questions
very
that
much.
were in the chat, and then we can
Okay.
cycle back to you, Christopher. So this is somewhat related. Wayne Gramlich asked, if someone wants to visit you in Panama, what is the process?
Well, try to give us as much notice as possible so we can make sure that we have time for you. We do have visitors coming down quite often. I'm always incredibly busy, but I always try to make several hours a week where I talk to people that want to participate in the incubator or that want to be involved in some way. I always try to save several hours per week where I can actually just talk to people and see what they're interested in, what they want to do, and how they want to participate. And that can be in person or remotely on Zoom or any other communication method. So if you generally give us a week notice, that would be ideal if you're going to come here in person. But generally, we're around.
Okay, the next question was from Yasser. I see most of the projects about life on water and the ones you talked about are still research projects. So I'm curious to know to what extent the reality of that is at the moment. So for example, maybe you can show or talk about a project that incorporate the latest tech we could reach at the moment in this concern. Yasser, I'm sorry, I don't know if I quite understand what you're asking. It sounds like something, you want to know what is available right now, what technology is available right now. Are you talking about to build? Are you on the call?
So there's many projects. I'll just talk until we ask more details. So there's many projects, and I think each of those 100+ projects can be almost run as their own business. Like they can be spun off into a business if people see something that they're really passionate about. Then you could take a project, you can contribute in it, you could start it as your own business and collaborate with us, or you could just participate as a volunteer or as as someone that wants to see some of these projects get done. So there's a lot of projects that are there. I realize that I'm really good at outsourcing, but there's a limit to what I can do. So I'm trying to set up a project management system that we can manageably do as many things as we can simultaneously, because there's so many things that need to be done. So I'm trying to create a system that allows us to give some guidance and help move projects forward step by step. So a lot of the projects are things that people have suggested over the years, or ideas that I've had as we've been progressing along the way and said, okay, well, we need to have this or we need to have that, and we just added it to our list of projects that need to be done to make a high quality of life living on the sea. So these are a lot of the projects that have come up over the years. So I for each of these projects, I made about a 3 to 5 minute quick video to explain what the project is, what the challenge is, what the problem is, and what the potential solution is. And I'm trying to let other people step in and say, okay, I love that project. I want to take some ownership of it. I want to help move it forward and participate. And some of the projects may need project managers. Some of the projects may need software developers. Some may need hardware developers. Some may need people on the ground fitting plumbing stuff together. You may need 3D rendering artists. We may need CAD experts making 3D image designs, engineers to test things before on the computer before we actually build them. So there's all kinds of different skills that are needed. So if you just find a project that you're passionate about, you were interested in participating in, then we can help try to move that project forward. So there's a long list of them on the website, and they're all at different stages. So you just find something you're interested in participating in and connect with us, and we'll try to help you steer you in the right direction to make some progress on those projects.
Have any of those projects been completed?
Well, we have many that are in progress, like solar thermal is in progress. a lot of the IoT, the smart home technology, is in progress right now. I just got a very cool video yesterday. I don't know if I can share it very well, where we have the brains of our home computer that are coming together very nicely. If I can
This is how it's going.
show you that. But you probably can't hear what they're saying on the video. This is the brains of the computer. So I wanted to have something that looked very futuristic and fun and cool. So we have some, it's the computer. It's almost like a gaming computer where you have some flashing lights, and there's going to be water cooled. It's a water cooled computer. So I thought we're on the water. We should have like a water cooled computer. And this is just showing how much cooler the system is running with this technology. It's running about half the temperature as normal with the water cooling. So some fun stuff we're doing. This is
just the passive cooling for all the aluminum that we have on the case.
so it gives you an idea of
There's
one of the projects.
Super low.
So completed, I'd say there's many projects that are in progress. We have an app that can control the house, a lot of the parts of the house, and we're always adding more things. So if it's totally finished, no. Even the SeaPods are still in development, as you saw out the window.
Next question, do you have any subscale modeling of your designs?
We have 2 models that are in the water that are about 1 kilometer away from, actually probably less than that. We have a 1/3 scale model of the deep water version of the house, and then we have a 1/3 scale model of the shallow water version. And we put those in the water about a year ago, and it's right at the marina. I'll turn the camera around and you can you can see the boats, in the distance here. And I don't know if you can see the water, but we're right by the water, about 200 meters from the water. And then just off to the left, we have our shallow water model, and then behind that we have the deep water model. The 1/3 scale means 1/3 the length, 1/3 the width, and then 1/3 the height. So it's about 3 times 3 times 3, so it's like 27 times smaller. But it also doesn't have the ballast, so it doesn't have the concrete weights and everything in it. But we did the famous wine test, where you put a wine glass down and fill your glass with some wine, and the test is, if the wine doesn't move around too much or spill out the sides of the wine glass, then that's a pretty comfortable place to live. Because if it's sloshing all over the place and it doesn't look very comfortable, then it's probably like a normal boat where you can get seasick when you're in a storm. So it passed the wine test. It was very calm, and that was 1/27th of what it will be like with the full size SeaPod. And this one will be ready to go in the water. We're going to put the base in the water probably in about a month.
Cool. Okay, this is a question about the website from Leo. Can you star a project to save it for later? Or can you review how you contribute to a project, because there isn't an apply button?
Okay, so on the wiki, there's no apply button right now. But I can show you, I can share my screen. So if you look for a project, on this page, say click on the Aquascan. Right now we only have about 12 of the projects that are searchable on this method. and there is an apply button here. So you can click apply. And then when you put your name and email in here, and if you're already logged in, it'll automatically populate that. You can say a few words about why you like this project, or why you want to participate, or why, or what your skills are that might be relevant. Then submit this, and it's automatically connected to this specific project. So we'll know that it's for this particular project, so you don't have to fill that in. It automatically associates the two. So there is an apply button, but it only is right now. It's only on the main participate now button. You click there. So it's going to be coming to all the projects, but it's going to take, there's 100 projects plus, there's 100 plus projects to add. So it just takes a long time to get them all added properly and set up. My team is working, I've had them working a lot. If you've been looking at the website for the last month, you've probably noticed a lot of changes. Just yesterday, we had more updates. We had the new, some new animations on the green pod page. Give you a little visual walkthrough of our vision of what living on land could be like, where you can have a house in nature without having to clear cut nature. So this is one of our new animations we put up, and we also put this one up. This was, I think these both went live yesterday. So we're adding lots of new fun stuff all the time.
Christopher, did you have a follow-up question?
Yeah, is there anyone physically or virtually reaching out to educational institutions in the Americas, just to let them know, hey, this platform is up and running, and for maybe students can contribute, maybe work out some deals with some credit, all that sort of thing? Is anybody doing that?
We are somewhat doing that. One of my project managers, Hendrik in Estonia, has been reaching out to some universities in the United States and maybe some other countries as well. It's kind of our first step in doing that. Well, actually last summer we had University of Texas, El Paso that was really interested in working with us. They have about 1,500 students in the IoT, makerspace, 3D printing, mechanical engineering division. And they're really interested in working with us. They've been kind of quiet lately, but they may just be waiting to see that we're doing something, and we're making things happen. And at Ocean Builders, we do a lot, so we make things happen. And so eventually, hopefully they'll jump on board. But we would love to be able to bring, I think this would be like an ideal university project or a college project, because it's not just a theoretical thing, but something you can participate in, you can sink your teeth in, do something really fascinating, interesting. I think maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I think this is one of the most interesting projects going on the planet right now. I mean, there's so much potential for what we can do to innovate, because every innovation we're trying to develop on these open source projects we're doing, will make living on the ocean more like living on land. And a lot of the innovations will be able to be something we can bring back to land. So recycling 90% of the shower water that you're using, that's something that's not just applicable to living on the water. That's something that a lot of states, a lot of countries need that kind of technology. Like California has water shortages all the time. There's probably a lot of other states in the US and around the world that are having the same issues with water shortages. So if you could have a shower and use, normally maybe use 2 gallons in a 2-minute shower, I'm just taking a guess. But if you could now have a 20-minute shower and use 2 gallons, that's amazing. That's like a 90% reduction in your water consumption. And the ideal thing is maybe we're combining that same technology. Actually, there's a couple of technologies. There's the Nebbia shower head, which reduces shower water consumption by 40 to 60%. And then there's also another technology called the shower loop, which is showerloop.org. And they've created a technology that reduces shower water consumption 90%. we're trying to find a way to adapt that to our SeaPods. And then if you combine that technology with electrocoagulation that I talked about earlier, where you can actually electrically treat the water and neutralize a lot of the toxins that are in the water, either gray water toxins or black water toxins as well, then we could have some really interesting solutions that can be applicable on land. And I got involved with this project because I saw the potential of what it could do for, making the world a better place. And I think that's why a lot of us are kind of interested in this project.
Yeah. Mike D asked what CAD system you are using.
We probably are using every CAD system. We have different people using SolidWorks. We have Inventor, Fusion 360, FreeCAD. I'm sure there's some more, but I don't remember all of them because different people are using different different technologies, and some of them have an existing license, and they're just using what they already have. So it gets a little bit tricky switching between formats sometimes, but that's just the way it has to work sometimes.
Jeff asks, are the scholarships for working on existing projects or are they to develop new projects? And so the one criteria that the Seasteading Institute has set is that they are open source projects. But Grant, do you have any preference?
Well, I would like it to be projects that that the Seasteading Institute, as well as we find that are good projects, and there's easily another 100 projects that we can add to the list. And I'm not going to say a blanket statement that every project that someone suggests is going to be something we want to do, because maybe it's not practical, or maybe it's not realistic with technology that we have right now. So we can look at anything that comes out that people want to suggest and see if that's if we think it's viable to move forward with it. Then we're open to dealing, looking at anything that comes up. So we're open to suggestions.
So from Krishna, one, is end user research done before building some of these solutions? And two, what's the timeline to establish the first colony? Are there milestones?
So we have an area, we're at a marina right now, at our factory's at a marina, and we're about 1 kilometer away from the first location where we're going to be launching the SeaPods in the water. And that location is good for about 30 SeaPods maximum. And we're not sure how long it's going to take to make 30 SeaPods. The first one has been a monumental effort, but that's because we're trying to figure out all the details of, like, making the original mold for the actual shape is a massive project. Once the mold is finished, which it should be within 3 to 4 weeks, then we can step up our efforts and make them pretty fast. It'll take about 5 fiberglass workers, probably 2 to 4 weeks to make each pod unit itself. And then we're looking at ways of accelerating the development of the actual metal structure. And that's something we can also outsource to other locations, because we can have pre-made parts brought in. So it may take us, we may be able to make 1 SeaPod a month here, or we may be able to make 10 if we do some of the work other places and just assemble things here. So it'll take some time to get started. For the first month, it's going to be maybe 1, and then we'll increase to 2, and then increase and increase and increase, and until we find ways of making more and more and more. But it's a process to figure it out. And sorry, there's the first part of that question I missed.
It was, is end user research done before building some of these solutions?
Yes, basically, I'm building the SeaPod the way, because I already lived on a floating house, and I was like, for 3.5 years, it's like, oh, it would be really cool if we could do this, or with you know. So I already had a list of things that I wanted to see on my ideal floating house. I never thought I'd actually be building one, but now I am. So I'm taking my experience of living on a floating house and building it into what I would like to have. And so I'm basically building this for me. And I think my partners are building it for themselves as well. So we're trying to figure out the best system that works, you know, that's practical for us. And if everyone else wants one, or if anyone else wants one, then great, we'll build another one. We're just trying to build the absolute best model we can. And if other people like it, great. If they don't like it, then maybe we'll change some designs. Maybe we'll change some models. I know not everyone's going to love our particular interior design, and that's okay. I know my partner Rudy wants a lot of teak wood kind of design on the interior of his SeaPod, so that's okay. We just have a really good, amazing interior designer. I think she's on our call, Morgan. I saw her name earlier when I looked. She's going to help the SeaPod owners come up with a design for the interior that really matches their design. You know, what they want to see on a SeaPod. So everyone's going to be able to have the design you want. It may not be on version 1 though. It's going to be an iterative process. It might not be version 1, could be version 2, or you know, we'll see where things evolve.
Mike made the comment, I wanted to give you a chance to respond. It would eliminate a lot of plumbing if the gray water can be recycled right at the sinks and showers and treated as a recycled working fluid.
Yes, so the shower loop system actually would be built into like behind the wall of the shower. So it would be done like as close as possible to the shower. Now that system, it's not done yet, so we don't know how it's going to end up. It's really not that far though from the shower or from the sinks to the room where that water would be recycled, which I'm calling the main engineering room after Star Trek. So in the main engineering room is where we do the water recycling, and it's a few meters away from most of the water sources. So it's not that far to be able to take it down there and recycle it. Ideally though, it's best to have the water for the shower recycled closer, because then you can also recycle the heat. So you don't have to put as much hot water in the system, and you just top up the water so that you can, you know, top up the hot water to make it hot all the time. That's another brilliant thing about the shower loop technology, is that you save on water heating costs, because the water is already hot when it's going down the drain, and you can you still have that hot water in the system. You're just cleaning it, doing a quick cleaning process.
So Leon asks, 1, are you looking for front-end developers or DevOps engineers for working on the project management code?
Yes, actually, we are definitely looking for DevOps developers. Yes,
Great.
that would be fantastic. We have, we actually want to fix up our GitHub front end, so it really is much easier for people to participate. And right now, it's going to take some work to make it easy for people to jump on board and participate in projects that are software and hardware related. So we want to make that as easy as possible, so it can be just an open community where people can see a project that they're passionate about, and then say, okay, I want to contribute to that, and they can take a line of, you know, download the software to their computer, and they can do their contribution to the code, upload it back to GitHub, and then have it approved, or, you know, modified or changed, or or given feedback on, because maybe the few tweaks need to be made before it's approved and inserted into the project. So yes, we'd love to have DevOps.
So I'm not sure if you already answered this. How will the projects be organized, and will you, Grant, be the product owner for helping direct the progress of each of these projects?
Part of the project problem is that I've been the owner on most of the projects, and I'm trying to move so many projects along that I can't get into detail on all the projects, because then I can't focus on everything that needs to be done. So we have right now one project manager that's going to be helping most of the people to help make progress on each of the projects and make sure that they get the resources they need to move forward. And we'll bring more project managers on as needed. Well, we have actually, I guess, 2 project managers in that case, because we have one that's kind of doing the overall project management, and then we have another one that's doing project management for software related projects. So yeah, I'm trying to take myself out of that position so I can make sure everything else that needs to get done is done, because I'm also running a factory, and 110 project running at 110 projects kind of gets overwhelming for one person to do.
Yeah, so we're trying to get you some help.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I actually brought in some military strategists, analysts to help me figure out how to scale things, because I need really good strategies to be able to do this, and willing to bring in whatever resources we need to do to make things happen. I'm really good at outsourcing. I have a company that I've been running for about 12 years now, since 2009. And I've outsourced to the point where I don't have to do very much work on that business. But I realized now that was just one project, and now there's 110 that I'm trying to do. So I can't do each one individually. I need to find a way to scale that.
Trina asked if there's a current CAD file available for download. He's a Blender animator and augmented reality designer, and would like to create an architectural walkthrough in Unity for AR and VR.
Yes. Email me at grant@oceanbuilders.com, and I will get you the latest files. I have CAD drawings as well as .3DM files, and I'm not sure which ones he would need the most.
Mike asked if you can make the SeaPods bigger, like 1,000 square feet or 100 square meters.
It's been a 2-year project to make the exact model that we're working on. I'm sure things will go much faster once the first one's out, but we're going to have a standard model for a very long time. We would like to be able to offer different sizes, but this is one size hopefully fits all for a while.
What's the square footage of the current SeaPod design?
866 square feet. And then we also have a gazebo, which is a word we made up, which is for a water gazebo. And I'll share my screen and show you quickly. Actually, this is the location where we're going to be putting the first 30 or so SeaPods. This is about 1 kilometer from here. And it's a little island that gives protection from the waves. And so here's the rendering with 3 SeaPods inserted on this picture. And this is the model we're building right now. So you'll have a dock, and then a little walkway that walks out to what we're calling a gazebo, like a water gazebo. And you'll be able to have a couch there, or a dangling chair or something like that. And then on top, we'll have the solar space for solar thermal or solar electric panels. So that this actually extends the living space from 866 to like, it's probably another 200 square feet of floor space here. And actually the footprint from this whole area is 244 square meters. So it's a pretty good size.
Cool. Next question from Kirk. Are there sacrificial elements that need to be replaced? And how is the system maintained?
Yes, there are sacrificial elements that need to be replaced. We're protecting the steel spar that goes in the water with a, there's going to be a sacrificial anode that will be made that basically steel, when you put it in water, normally rusts. And one way of preventing that is, there's a couple of different ways. One way is to do like a zinc coating or galvanized steel. So we're going to galvanize part of the steel. Actually, that's part of what we're doing today with the noise in the background was the sandblasters. So we're getting the steel cleaned off to be galvanized. That's going to be on the dock area. The underwater section is going to be protected by active electrical protection. So we're going to put a voltage of about, I think it's 3.3 volts at whatever amperage, and that helps to prevent rusting on the steel. So there will be a sacrificial anode that will deteriorate over time that will need to be replaced. Other things, there's going to be, of course, water filters that need to be replaced from time to time. There's going to be, if we're using the electrocoagulation system, there's going to be some metal plates inside there that need to be replaced probably annually, depending on how much water you're consuming. There may be a backup propane power system or a generator. So you need to put fuel in if you want to have extra power that we're maybe not able to produce all the power that's needed on the solar panels. So we may supplement that with a generator. So you have to use generator power or propane. The interesting thing about the propane is we may use the propane to burn the solid waste from the toilets. So we'll have like a catch system that's like a grid that catches the solids, and the liquids go through into the electrocoagulation system. And the solids get burned with a propane burner. And then the heat from that gets captured into the same system that's being used to heat water for the solar thermal. We'll also have that same water heated by the propane burners that are turning the waste from the toilet into dust or into ash.
You guys, we have about 4 minutes left and all these great questions are coming in the chat. So I'm going to skip a few and maybe I can have Grant respond to these questions via email. I'll be sending out an email to everyone just to recap the event, a link to the video once that's published on YouTube, and then maybe Grant can answer some of the questions that are being submitted now at the last minute. This is always the way it works, right? So I'm going to ask the last question from Anupa. I'm a 19-year-old from Sri Lanka who just got into college to pursue computer science. I dream of getting to work at ocean builders in the future. What subject areas could I pursue that would be useful for ocean builders?
In the computer science areas, there's Python is a great language to learn. Node.js, if you're looking for specific computer programming languages. Building actual hardware, like on Raspberry Pis or Arduinos, can be super valuable. We're trying to build a really smart home that can regulate all the systems of the house to make it totally automated so the house just works. So a lot of those languages are very useful. Flutter is a really good programming language. It's for coding iOS and Android apps that's cross-platform, that also works on browsers, web browsers. So you can write the code once and it works on all platforms. That's software from Google that is getting more and more popular that we're using, and I think it's a really good technology. Off the top of my head, that's what I would recommend for a computer science related area.
Well, thank you. I want to thank everyone for attending. I'm going to put in the chat our feedback form. So we've been hosting these seasteading socials for a few months. You can, if you complete the feedback form, you can also recommend topics that you want to see covered in future events. And then also, many of you have already donated to the fundraiser so that we can help get people who can work on these projects. You know, we can reimburse them for their time and their effort to work on these projects so that the seasteading movement as a whole can benefit from the development of these technologies and these projects. So I'm going to put the link here again for the fundraiser. If you haven't already donated, or if you have, you can always donate again. We're trying to reach our goal of $55,000, and we have an anonymous donor who will match that. So if you donate to this scholarship, you will have your donation doubled. So again, thank you everyone for attending, and keep an eye out for the recap email. I'll see if Grant can maybe answer some of the questions we didn't get to in the email, and we'll see you again soon, I hope. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Carly and Grant.
Thank you.